Please.
Fantastic. Thank you very much.
Ali will take the stage.
Yes, I can see you. Hello, can you hear me?
We can hear you, we can see you.
I can hear you. Okay. Mariana, just double checking. Can you hear me, please?
We can hear you and we can see you. Oh, see you not really anymore, but we can hear you.
Okay. Well, fantastic. It gives me great pleasure to welcome you all on this amazing workshop organized by London Cardinals and hosted by Andrew Bennett. A few housekeeping rules from me before we start. If I can request everyone to please have their cameras on so that we can see each other. However,
this meeting is being recorded.
However, the microphones, I'll appreciate if they could be kept silent, and when during the meeting we go into breakout rooms, then you will have an opportunity to speak, and then the room facilitator will tell you to put your microphone on at that time. Some people have joined recently. Can I please request that if you're a guest, please edit your name to have a G in front of it so that we can see and differentiate you from a Toastmaster member. If you are a Toastmaster member, please just add TMI in front of your name. We have an agenda for the meeting today, which I will be putting on the chat box now as we speak. Please feel free to download this and go through it as we progress through the meeting. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out, either myself or the president or the room facilitators, which will be introduced to you later on. So let me then now welcome our president, Mariana Bosniak, to take it up from here and take the meeting forward. Mariana.
Thank you so much, Ali. I will also keep it short and sweet and brief as much as possible. And first of all, welcome you all. Thank you for showing up in such a big number to our workshop From Fear to Flow, table topics workshop, which nothing else, I will just immediately go and give this beautiful and warm presented and welcome no one else than our workshop presenter, who is, I could say like this, he's not just member of 1, 2, or 3 clubs, 5 clubs. That's Experienced French, Excalibur, Digital Communicators, Fibers Collective, and what was the Berkeley Square Speakers. So those 5 clubs, and not that he was only a president 2 clubs, but he's been also an area director. There is much more to add to his, I would say, quite reputation in the Toastmasters that we could benefit from it. And that's definitely, he's been a table topics District 91 champion in 2021, but he's been also a District 91 evaluation champion for 2022. So there is nothing more than to say he's here to join, to share all his ideas. I will say tips and tricks he'll learn on his way, on his journey to winning that contest in table topics contest in District 91. Please, with a round of applause, join me and welcome no one else than Andrew P. Bennett.
Woo! Thank you, President Mariana. Do you know, it's fantastic to be back at London Cardinals again. We shared a workshop some months ago now. It was a voice workshop, and we had such fun together that when Mariana and Mohammed asked me to come back to Cardinals, I jumped in straight away and I said we had to find a date so that we could tackle table topics from fear to flow, which is what we're going to do this evening. First things first, I don't know how hot it is where you are. We're all over the world. In the UK, we're in a bit of a heat wave. So I hope you've got your bottle of water with you. And I hope you're in your short sleeve shirt or your really nice t-shirt. Normally when you come to workshop with me, you'll see I'm all in tie and jacket. No way this evening. We're into the hot weather. So there you are, bottles of water, nice t-shirts. No one to faint during the workshop, please, because we're virtual and we can't pick you up. We'd love to be able to do it though. Here we go. From table topics to from fear to flow. First of all, we have some guests in the room who've not been to Toastmasters before, and I'm really excited about that. Table topics is an art form that we practice in Toastmasters International meetings. What it basically means is impromptu speaking, speaking off the cuff, speaking without preparing in advance. That's what table topics are. They're little short subjects that we hand to you, and then you make an attempt and you give us an answer if it's a question maybe, and you speak without preparing in advance. Do you know something? We all impromptu speak in our daily lives. Think about it. Every situation that you come across, you're impromptu speaking. All that changes sometimes is the context. For instance, our impromptu speaking practice is useful if you're in a work situation and your boss says to you, I want you to handle the question and answer time. And you're the one who's there and you're supposed to give the answers and hear the questions and deliver the impromptu speaking. The many, many situations where you have to speak impromptu. Job interviews are a keen point as well for impromptu speaking. And sometimes I know that we get a little bit worried by impromptu speaking. It's something that freezes us. What will I say? How will I say it? How will I manage in that context? This workshop is designed to set you free. You're going to be able to speak and do impromptu speaking as you wish, because we're going to practice it together. Those of you that have been to my workshops on other subjects know that I like interactive. That means that you're all going to be participating tonight. You're going to be joining in. You're going to be trying out some impromptu speaking. And as we do it, we're going to have a lot of fun because, let me tell you, Ralph Smedley, who was the founder of Toastmasters International and set this whole wonderful movement off, he really didn't mean table topics to be the ultimate torture for Toastmasters for decades to come. I promise you he didn't. He meant it to be something that created enthusiasm in the meeting and joy, and that we could enjoy doing and take the skills then outside of the meeting into our daily and working lives. So that's what we're practicing for tonight. You've already made the first step this evening because you have stepped up. That's the first of my tips, is to step up and practice impromptu speaking whenever you have the chance. That means if you're in a regular Toastmasters meeting and the topics master asks for some volunteers, volunteer. What have you got to lose? You can only gain through practice. So well done for stepping up by coming to this workshop in the first place. That's excellent. And the next thing is, be a really good listener. When you're given the topics question, or sometimes our topics masters might give you a famous quote, whatever they give you, you need to be listening. Now, I always advise our topics masters to say the question twice. That's the way we do it in our topics contests. But I like in the meeting for our topics masters to repeat the question twice. Why? Because sometimes when we hear the question the first time and we're not very experienced, our mind starts racing away. What am I going to say? How am I going to say? And somehow we blot out the question. No,
You're muted. Your little microphone is red and crossed.
Yeah, we're
sorry, somebody muted me by accident, I think, because it came up, so you've been muted. Here we come. So make sure that you listen carefully to the question both times. Don't be tempted to let your mind race ahead. And then the next thing that we'll need to do is to get into a sense of flow. One of the things that we teach people at Toastmasters when they start out doing impromptu speaking and maybe answering a question is to repeat the question aloud at the beginning. As you get more experience, you don't have to do that, but it helps when you're starting out just to repeat the question to make sure you've grasped it before you start speaking. And then what are we looking for? We're looking maybe for a key word. Is there something that you could build on? For instance, some of our topics involve agreeing or disagreeing, and you will take the decision of whether you're going to agree or disagree. So that will make it a little easier for you. Other topics remind you of a personal story, something that happened to you, an anecdote as we call them, something that happened to you, and you can bring it into the topic. And maybe you want to talk about a film or a book or music, something you've just read, something you've just heard, something that evokes a memory. We all have inside of us stored up lots and lots of wonderful memories, interesting memories, things that happen to us. Use them for your table topics answers. Bring them up. They'll come to your mind. You know, the topic will start you thinking, oh yes, I remember that happened to me. Share it with us. Share the story. That's the way to start getting into the flow of topic speaking. Use your life experience as your starting point. Now, we needed to start with a topic this evening, and so I've got a topics volunteer coming onto this stage right now, and that is Toastmaster Mohammed, who's going to answer a topic that I give him, and then I'm going to make some suggestions to Mohammed as to how this could become an improved topic. So let's hear what Mohammed's got to say to us first. I'm looking forward to him coming onto the screen. Can we spotlight Mohammed, please? So he's on camera with me. He comes. There he is. Good evening. How are you?
I'm good.
All ready for your topic?
I am.
Wonderful. I've got one that I hope is going to get you into flow here, because that's the thing I've just been talking about. So here we come. Your topic is, Mohammed, would you rather have less work or more work you actually enjoy? So would you rather have less work or more work you actually enjoy? Over to you, Mohammed.
Thank you. Good evening, Toastmaster, workshop leader Andrew, fellow Toastmasters, and most welcome guests. Now, that question really triggers for me a quote by Albert Einstein, which is, "Reality is merely an illusion, albeit a very persistent one." And so our journey within, certainly within my career, my work life, has always been that of seeking out things that I really enjoy. I think my kind of failing is that I always like a challenge, and so everything I has to be something that is a challenge to me, in order for me to really increase what I call the elasticity of my capacity. So I'm always seeking out that next challenge, that next accomplishment, and I think that's like the adrenaline junkie within me that's really seeking out the challenge. So for me, in answer to your question, I always like to do things that I enjoy, and as a consequence, I enjoy doing them more. And so, my friends and family will always complain, "Oh, you always seem to be working." But that's merely because I enjoy what I do. And if you don't enjoy what you do, then there's no point doing it. Now, it may be a messy journey, but I'm hoping that my mess will eventually become my message. Over to you, workshop leader Andrew.
Well done, Mo. Well done, Toastmaster Mo. Round of applause. Lots of virtual hands going there. That's great. Great start. Now, you got into flow really beautifully, and you had reality as an illusion. I like that use of words. A couple of things that I had thought for you this evening in your topic. First of all, you do compare nicely the idea, and you say that you would like more work because you enjoy what you do. Tell us a little bit about what you do. Tell us about what you do, just in a nutshell, just in a few words, because I found myself sitting here as an audience member. I was thinking, I'm really glad he enjoys what he does, but what does he do? So do satisfy the audience's expectation. Tell us, I know that you if you're talking about your work, we can all do it. We can all go off for ages about our work. No, just tell us in a couple of words, this is what I do for my job, and that is why I enjoy it. And then it helps you to back up your argument, which is a really good argument that you like to do the things you enjoy. I also noticed this evening, now this is something we wouldn't have in an in-person meeting, but you've got this splendid virtual background there, Mohammed, and I actually think that it would have been fun to use it in some way in the topic. You know, so at some point you say, well, I could of course lie back on my desert island with the breeze and the palm trio, but actually I like my work. My work is, and that's why. And so I would choose, can you see, and you can make yourself a layered structure that way in the topic. It's just little ideas I had for you that would enliven it up. It's a very well handled topic because also you came back to the end and reiterated the subject. You stated the subject of the question again at the end, and that made it really nice and neat. So well done for that topic. That was a great one to start us all off with. I'm all energized by it, and it's been great to hear you. Thank you.
Thank you.
So we've shown you how it's done. What we're going to do now is we're going to move into breakout rooms. In each breakout room is a facilitator or convener, you can call them if you like, and they are going to give you, in a little group, you're going to have 2 sentences to start a story. And each person in the room is going to be able to speak for 1 minute on the story and continue the story. You're going to create the story together. This is a nice, easy way of getting into impromptu speaking. Remember, please, there are no right or wrong answers. There are no right or wrong stories. It can go wherever you like because this is all about simply speaking. So we're going to send you away now, and we've got fabulous Zoom masters tonight. We've got Grace and Arnaud with us this evening, and we're going to move into breakout rooms. You'll be with your convener. They'll guide you through what you need to do.
And everybody should be on their way to the breakout rooms.
Fantastic.
And we may even have a few people remaining in this room so that we may also do the exercise here.
Let's do it here. Let's do it here because that way we get it on the recording as well. Okay, so I'll do the exercises here with you. So as I said, you are going to have, and I'm just going to bring you up on a gallery view for me actually because it'll be nicer. So I can see, there's everyone on that. So I have Vincent, and I have Arnaud, and I have Grace, and I have Dorota, and I have Alia. Wonderful. And do I have some more? I have, I have Shu, and I have Melanie. Okay. So what we're going to do is I'm going to give you a sentence which will start a story. I will call upon one of you to start the story off for us, and then another one to continue it. When it's your time to end speaking, there's the green card, okay? So you're only going to have to speak for a minute, I promise you, okay? You only got to do a minute, and I'll show you the green card. I'm getting my timer into place now. That's good. So I can time you a minute. There we go. Beautiful. So the first story that we're going to share together today begins. The sun was shining, not a cloud in the sky, when suddenly the sun was shining, not a cloud in the sky, when suddenly, what happened next? Grace, tell us what happened next, please.
When suddenly the man stepped out from his house and noticed a large droplet of rain.
Fantastic. Okay, and what happened then, Dorota?
He looked around and he realized that instead of being in his lovely London home, he was transformed or moved into another place, and he looked pretty happy about it.
Fantastic. And then, Anna, what happened next?
Sorry, I'm a little busy with the Zoom side of
Okay,
things.
no worries. In that case, Alia, what happened next, please?
And suddenly the man falls asleep because he was exhausted. And when he wakes up, he finds himself in what seems to be a different planet, because he did not recognize the things around him. So the man woke up feeling like in a different planet, and there was some sort of altitude in the space, and he started looking around to gather some info to see where he is.
Good. Vincent, I can't see you on camera, but are you hearing us? Would you like to carry on the story?
Sorry, Vincent joined on 2 devices, so he's
so maybe
actually
he's in another
here
room.
in spirit. Yeah.
Okay, lovely. In that case, we'll go to Shu, please. You need to unmute, please.
Sorry.
There we are.
And yeah, he has a little bit of altitude. Where is he? Oh no, I'm falling, looking around. Oh no, I'm going to hit the rock bottom now. What can I do? Rip. Oh, as I imagine, I have a pair of wings. A wing start to shoot out from the back of me, and I start flying. I love that breeze coming through on me. I can just relax and just fly around all the mountain, go through the lake. And then I saw a big giant. What is that big giant? What? I can't see it clearly.
Excellent, great. And then Melanie, would you like to round up the story for us? Tell us what happened in the end.
It looks like a big giant alien on another planet. And how did I get to this planet? From starting in the sky with not a cloud in the sky, and suddenly there was rain, and then arriving at this planet? I'm not sure. Maybe I'm dreaming.
That's
Maybe.
Brilliant. Great work. So you've seen we're already into our impromptu speaking. Let's do one more story before we go back to main session, okay? So, and it was actually quite good that you all landed up on another planet, because it works for the next topic for our storytelling. I had never met a creature from outer space before. I had never met a creature from outer space before. And who would like to start this one off? How about Shu? Would you like to start us this one?
I have never met another creature from the outer space before, but today is my lucky day. Why? I've been looking forward to that ET to come into Earth. Look, the spaceship on the top of me, just trying to capture me. I'm filled with excitement and fears. What is going to do next? What is going to do next? Look, the light is shining. No, I'm ascending. Where am I going next?
Great. And where are we going next? We're going to Alia. Microphone on, please.
I am ascending. The sky seems to become closer and closer and closer and closer. All of a sudden, I can reach my arm and I can reach the clouds. Can I really touch the clouds? Can I hold the clouds in my hands? And I seem to be comfortable. And I'm looking around now, looking at Earth. That used to be my house. Is that really my house? Or it looks like my house? I'm not sure. I feel like I'm next to the stars. I'm going higher and higher and higher and higher. And feels good.
Great. And then on to Dorota, please.
And while I'm up there, I'm still looking around. Where is this creature I just met? I can't see him anywhere. It seems like he was here and a minute ago, and he's not there anymore. I had all these questions to ask him. I've never seen one before, and that was my chance, and he's gone. So what do I do now? I think I'd like to go around and chase for him. maybe I'll just switch right and then left and see what happens. Maybe he'll appear again. It would be really nice to have all these conversations about different things between what he knows, what I know. Maybe it's he, she, who knows? All those questions unanswered.
Great. And then Grace, would you like to round? Oh, Melanie, we haven't had Melanie yet. Melanie, what happened next?
Swishing round and round. Oh no, he's not alone. There's more than one. There's a whole army of them. What are they doing here, up in the sky? I'd better go and warn someone. Who do I warn? I don't know. There's too many countries. Where are we above? We're above London. Maybe we need to go and warn. I don't know. Who's the Prime Minister?
Well done. Good, great. So we've done some impromptu speaking. We've broken the ice together. In the next breakout session, which is in the second half, we're actually going to answer some full table topics. So this is our warm-up to get us in the groove to do some table topics later on together. Okay, fantastic. Well done to everybody. Really great work. Oh no, I suggest we bring people gently back because we started a little bit late, didn't we? So.
Yes, I've just broadcast a message and we'll be closing the room, so everybody should be back within a minute.
Fantastic. See, this impromptu speaking can be fun, can't it?
Oh, it's absolutely amazing. I absolutely love those stories. Sorry I couldn't join in just a moment ago.
It's all right. I know you and Grace are real busy. I know you both are.
Yeah, we had a couple of little things going on in the background, but everybody should be on their way back.
Good.
And the rooms will
great.
completely close out in 35 seconds. So time for a fresh glass of water.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, impromptu speak for me is still quite scary, especially need to come up with some story or some sentence which is like meaningful and makes sense rather than just go everywhere.
There we go. Okay, I know you tell me when we're ready to go.
That was the whole time, was it?
Everybody should be back now.
We are back.
Yeah.
Said 15
We are back.
minutes.
That wasn't 15 minutes.
It wasn't 15 minutes.
We're getting a little bit of a move on because we started a bit late. Okay. But now we go. Here we go. Next section.
Next time, tell us.
Next section of the topics tips. Okay, so here we go. I also wanted to encourage you this evening, and I started to see it a little bit during the storytelling that was going on, okay, which is I want you to encourage you to use gesture, facial expressions, hands, arms, body, and demonstrate in your topics. Why do I say that? Because I think, and I learned, that the more engaged you are physically in your table topic, the more easy it is to find the words. Somehow, one thing feeds off the other. The gestures help the words help the gestures, because the gestures have to come from inside the meaning of the words to be real, but somehow they help each other. Now, what I'm really suggesting is, for instance, and when I talk about demonstrating, you want to be able to create a picture for your audience, a picture that they can see through your words and through your gestures and your expression. So for instance, imagine that I am tasting the most wonderful ice cream. There it is, my ice cream. It's very hot this evening, you see. Okay, and I'm tasting it and I'm, yeah, and you know, it brings me the story, it brings me the flavor of strawberries. Can you imagine the flavor of strawberries? They're kind of sweet, but they've got a little acid side to them as well. And yeah, and there's a bit of chocolate in there somewhere as well. It's quite bitter. I think it's dark chocolate. You know, I'm conjuring up sensations for you. By talking about tastes of strawberries and chocolate, I'm setting off your endorphins, those famous receptor hormones that make us feel very happy. And I'm making also a connection with you as my audience member, because you remember what the taste of the strawberries or the chocolate is like. So I would like to encourage you to use gesture to remember all the senses when you are delivering a table topic. And the senses, we've got what I heard, what I could hear. I was in the dark, and all of a sudden I could hear someone in the bush behind me, and it was moving. It was going crunch, crunch. What I've heard, what I've seen, I could see on the distant horizon. There was a boat. I didn't know who was on that boat, but the boat was coming towards the harbour. Or what you smelt. There was a strange smell in the air. It smelled as if somebody had been cooking onions. Yeah, these are all sorts of different ideas that I'm throwing towards you to say that you can use your senses. You could even talk, even if you're on virtual, you can talk about the sensation of touch. As I was stroking that dog, his fur seemed really smooth. It was a smooth-haired dog, you know. Try and find ways of incorporating senses into your topics, because that way you really connect to your audience. Everybody remembers these sensations, and it does part of the work for you in the answer. So remember that one. Use the senses. Another thing that I wanted to suggest to you, and I'm just going to hold up a second. Let me just see if I can get my cursor to work. I'm just going to change my virtual background for you. I'm going to bring somebody up on my virtual background, if I can get my cursor to do it. Right. And there he is. And there he is. Right, and let me get out of his way for you. 2 seconds. There. So, behind me, and I'll move out of his way. Which way should we go? This way. That is Aristotle. Anyone recognize him? In public speaking clubs and public speaking circles, we tend to use Aristotle's system for creating prepared speeches. He taught us that you needed to create your ethos, that people need to learn who you are when you start to speak, so that they can trust you and listen to your message. He taught us to use logos, which is reasoning answers. That's particularly important when we're doing an impromptu speech, maybe where we're disagreeing or agreeing, and we've got to back up our choice with arguments and use of language, logos. And he also taught us about pathos. Pathos is when you connect with your audience with your emotions. It's all about emotional contact, sentiment. Most of the topics that you will get will be a mixture, probably, between ethos, building your credibility. Maybe it's something where you've got a bit of expertise and you can come out with an amazing fact just like that and establish that you're knowledgeable. Or perhaps it's one of those ones where you want to argue it around with useful language and apt words. Or perhaps it's one where you're connecting with your feelings. Yeah, mostly we get a mixture in our table topics, but it's good also sometimes to take a table topic and practice. I'm going to go on about practice in this workshop for you. It's very important that you do as much practice as you can to improve impromptu speaking. So for instance, when I'm practicing, I might say, okay, here's a topic, I'm going to work on this topic, and I am going to put the most amount of pathos and emotion and feeling that I can into this topic. And that way I'm practicing. And I know that if I'm put on the spot in an impromptu situation, be it in a meeting or a competition, wherever it is, I know that in that moment, because I've practiced those skills, they'll come to me. It's all about practice. That's what we're learning this evening, okay? So I wanted us to have a second topic speaker on stage, and it's absolutely fantastic because Toastmaster Christina has volunteered. So let's have Christina on stage, please. Let's have her spotlighted. Here you come, Christina. Great, fantastic for volunteering. And I have a topic for you, which I think is going to allow you to show us lots of emotion this evening. lots of pathos. That's why I've chosen this one particularly. And also, it's quite a nice topic because, you know, very soon my daughter is going to have a baby. So there's going to be a baby around for the first time in a number of years. So that's partly why I'm just giving you a background to this topic a little bit. Okay, Christina, here we go. This is your topic. If you could instill one piece of advice in a newborn baby's mind, what advice would you give? So if you could instill just one piece of advice in a newborn baby's mind, what piece of advice would you give, Christina, please?
If only we could instill pieces of advice, Matrix style, the movie Matrix, into babies, so that we already grow up with a programming that will enable us to navigate life much easily. The main thing I would instill in a newborn baby would be the concept that even if you find some people who don't like you in life, you will survive, you will be fine, and so many more people in this world will like you as well. Everybody has haters. There's a famous tennis player who said, if you became famous and you don't have haters, you're doing something wrong. Because people get jealous, because people compare themselves to your success or to what you have or to your personality. And everybody also has fans and people who like you, people who admire you, people who want to be next to you, and people who want to be your friends. So don't take personally the hate that you may receive in life, because spoiler alert, you will. Just focus on the good things that happen around you. Focus on the people who are really there for you, who like you for who you are. Don't try to change and be someone that you are not, to try and please people who don't like you, to decided to hate you before they even met you. Stay authentic, truth to yourself, and be happy, because happiness is something that anyone can find, and it's a choice, regardless of the things you have. Mr. Workshop Leader, Andrew Bennett.
Thank you, Christina. Round of applause for Christina. Awesome topic. Yes, exactly. The word is awesome, Chris, putting it in the chat there. It is awesome. Wonderful. So you took a concept idea for your advice to the baby, which I found an interesting way of delivering, and this idea that you'll be fine and you don't have to worry if people don't all like you. The idea is all there. The flow is absolutely great. You're looking comfortable as you speak, and that's nice. Sometimes when people start delivering in public speaking, they distort themselves a little bit because of the worry. But with Christina, one of the things that we all notice about her is she's really great on camera. She's really comfortable. We feel that we're receiving a story from Christina when she delivers it. Christina, one thing I had for you that I thought might have made this even better, if it's possible to make it even better as a topic, I would have liked to have seen you talk to the baby, because I think that would have brought the emotion and the pathos. I'd like to have seen you talk to the baby and rock the baby. And of course, you know what happens when we use dialogue, don't you, Christina? We get a lot wider range of vocal expression and vocal variety. And we get a nice, and as you're talking to baby, you can look out to camera to your audience to make sure that they're with you. But I thought it might have been fun to play with that a little bit in terms of the emotions. You got very passionate in the last, I would say, minute of the topic, which was great, because there was a word that we were talking about yesterday in a meeting, which is fervor. You were really fervent, you were really involved and passionate in what you were telling the baby. And I would have liked that baby to be there visually. Yeah, I think that would have added an extra touch to the topic. But the greatest thing is that you were really logical in your flow of thought from beginning to end. Every point was connected. There weren't any gaps. I didn't feel that you were hesitating. So really well done, Christina, because that was a lovely topics demonstration for us. Thank you. Great, we're moving on well. I wanted to give you a chance to see a video of me doing a topic and have you, as an audience, having the opportunity of giving me your feedback. There you are. This is the point in the workshop where I really open up myself to everything from you. So I hope you're going to enjoy this moment. And I think we're going to screen share a topic. It was from one of my contest rounds last year. I think it was maybe area contest, this one. And afterwards, just take a look at it and see if there are points you think that I could maybe do better, or things that you particularly like about it even. But just have a little look and see what you think. So we're going to screen share it. I'm going to click off my sound so I don't upset your sound again. There we go.
I can hear you. Andrew Bennett. If we can learn from our mistakes, why are we so afraid to make them? If we can learn from our mistakes, why are we so afraid to make them? Andrew Bennett.
Fellow Toastmasters and distinguished guests, it's true, people are absolutely terrified of making mistakes. Did you see the film about Louis Pasteur? And Louis Pasteur had a chart on a screen, and he was showing it to a cleaning lady who'd come to clean his house. And he was saying, we can't work this out. She'd asked for an explanation. We can't work this out. How is this working, this molecule? And she said to him, well, if it's not the bit in the centre, it must be all the bits around the outside. You see, she found the answer. She wasn't frightened of offering a suggestion, and she wasn't frightened of making a mistake. So what about our lives, our daily lives? Are we scared of tripping up and making a mistake? Do we go into that examination full of terror, or do we seize the chance, like today with the table topics contest? Seize the day, seize the chance. And even if something goes awry, we carry on and we pursue our goal with persistence and we get to the end. I don't know why people are so scared of making mistakes. It really is not such a terrible thing to make a mistake. Some of the greatest people in science, I've mentioned Pasteur for you, have grown and learned through their errors. And when you pick yourself up off the floor, you start to learn all over again. And then you can pursue and become what your dream is. You can pursue your dream. You can get to reach that magical goal, whatever it may be it scientific, be it artistic. Who knows what your particular goal is today? But don't be frightened of making a mistake to get there, because at the end of the day, you could come up a much bigger person than you started. Contest chair. There we come. That's great. Let's just take the screen share away and I'm back with you. Here we go. So how about giving me some of your comments on that table topic? Was there anything you thought in particular? Let's go for the things that we could improve first. We don't usually do that. We usually do the things we like first. Let's go for things that we could improve first. Any ideas of things that we could improve? I'm going to look along my gallery view and my speaker view. Anyone like to unmute and suggest something that you think?
I will go. Brave.
Yes. Yes.
President. And only because it's challenging to start first with recommendation, and it's very hard always to find a recommendation, especially from someone who is a champion. So if I really need to like challenge you, I wouldn't say recommendation, I will say challenge you. Then we'll be maybe using a clearer pauses. So the moment when you ask the question, allow the audience to really engage with that question and allow us to, oh my God, you're right. And we have a bit time to digest that question and get more like connected with that question and understand it in full.
Mariana, thank you, because that is the big one from this particular topic, which is, and it's the reason that I show this in Table Topics Workshop, is that when I first saw it back, I realized that I just didn't pause very much at all. And it did concern me. Sometimes when we launch into a topic, we get a bit frightened of falling off the horse. We're worried about what will happen if we stop speaking. And I just got so into flow that I didn't pause enough. I was sharing with another a Table Topics champion who I know very well. And he'd watched this and he said it was great, but he said, yeah, but you didn't draw a breath. I've never seen you not draw a breath before. And it was true. I didn't take enough time for pauses. So that's something you can all add to your skills as well. Just take the time sometimes to pause in between as you're making the transitions between the points. Use the pauses. Pauses, I produced an article about pauses, which some of you will have had in the voice workshop. Pauses are different things. Sometimes they're dramatic pauses. And sometimes they're simply grammatical pauses. Whereas it almost if you have a comma or a full stop. But yes, do use the pauses. Well done, Mariana. Anything else? How about some things you liked about it? Then let's get going that way.
Amy has their hand up.
Yes, please, come on. Just unmute. We'd be pleased to hear.
Thank you, Andrew. I'm a real big fan of your table topics. I'm sorry I can't share my screen. I'm actually on very low data here where I am.
That's okay. I mean, we hear you clearly.
But thank you. I found it phenomenal that you could bring up Louis Pasteur and talk through that entire kind of way of discovery that he went through, and just articulate that as part of this topic. I found that fascinating, and you grabbed my attention straight away. I agree in terms of the flow and the structure. I perhaps would have got every bit of it. I mean, I'm just thinking back to what I heard. I think I found it hard to absorb every element of what you covered there. You covered a ton of ground there, which all held together beautifully. If I had one question, that would be that perhaps I would have liked to know why you thought we fear making mistakes. I know you very clearly said you don't know why, or you're not, one doesn't know why. And you gave us many ways that we could overcome the fear. But I would have really liked to have your opinion on why. Thank you.
That was great. Thank you very much for bringing me to the next point, Amy. That's so well done. So well done. Which is that for a start, I want to share with you that, I said to you there are no right or wrong answers when we're practicing impromptu speaking. There really are no right or wrong answers. For a start, I got it wrong. It wasn't Louis Pasteur, it was Pierre Curie. I got the wrong one. And having said it once, I had to stick with it. So I just had to keep going and pursue it through. However, it didn't stop me from getting the result. So I would say, one of the things I would say to everybody is, even if you think you've made a mistake in the middle of your topic or tripped up in some way, just keep going with the flow. Nobody is going to come to you after your table topic, your impromptu speech, and question you on the details. No one is going to question you in that way, because when we do this practice within Toastmasters, we're really doing it to practice off-the-cuff speaking. So we're tending to comment more on your performance, how you delivered the topic, and whether you answered the question, of course. And I think those are very good points that Amy has given us. Okay, now we're actually coming towards the end of our time. We're coming towards the break time.
Hello, yes, can you hear me?
Yes, lovely.
Hi, yeah, so actually I heard your answer. It's actually very great and I agree with you, but my question is that, see, I agree when your answer is, when I agree with your point, but sometimes there are people with different mindsets, so they have a different answers for a particular question. So what do you think that, and sometimes it may lead to some controversial debates and all that. This, for example, that for this question I can say that I am fear of making mistakes because which I made in past led me to some disastrous results, like I met with an accident and stuff.
I hear you on this one. I think we need to make it clear that when the speaker is handed a topic, they're going to deliver from their own perspective. Yeah, they're going to deliver. You're going to deliver. If you're the speaker, you're delivering from your opinion on that topic that's given. You're going to deliver from your own perspective, just as I delivered on mine. And also bear in mind that we tend to go with the first idea that comes to us in those moments. That was a bit of an unusual situation. That was a contest topic, which has an added layer of pressure. It's different to what we do even in our club meetings. very different. But nonetheless, you will find, yeah, you know, people have different opinions. I would say I try to steer away from being controversial by nature, but there's no guarantee on that. Because if the topic master hands me a topic that's slightly controversial, I'm going to have to deal with it on the spot. I don't think, providing we're not doing anything, I mean, within Toastmasters, we deliberately speak for the guest in the room. We always speak for the guest in the room. I think that's really important that we have that mindset. So providing we're not saying anything that's blatantly offensive or terrible, I don't think that it becomes an issue. But I do think that, yeah, you know, it is an opinion. The speaker is giving an opinion. Whether the audience members agree with that opinion or not is up to them. You know, everybody's got their mindset. I don't think that, you know, if you're in a meeting with 30 odd people, you can't predict everybody's mindset, especially not in an impromptu situation. That doesn't work. But I do think that we can, as a general guideline, you know, we're not going to utter anything that's going to be offensive in any way or difficult, you know. And remember that this impromptu speaking that we do, this table topic, sometimes we have a serious topic, you know, but more often than not, we have things that are more light-hearted. So it has a fun element to it. It should be enjoyable. I want my audience to have a really great experience. I want them to have a good time when I'm speaking, whatever type of question I'm given. I think that's really the answer. But I do understand that, you know, it could be that sometimes you're given a controversial subject and that we have to be a bit more selective over our words in that moment, maybe more reflective.
Exactly.
You know, and of course, we've got the international context, which is with us now. We love being online for meetings. We love an international context, and the many cultures and different perspectives that we have. So we have to bear that in mind as well, I think. And that's a point for our topics masters too, when they're writing the questions. Actually, I think that can come into it there. Okay, that little beep that you heard is my wonderful timing device. And it says to me that we're going to have a little break. I believe we're going to have a 7-minute break and then we're going to be called back. Is that it? So I'm handing over now to our team at Cardinals and they will call you back.
Thank you, Andrew. I hope that you all enjoyed in this first half of the Table Topics workshop. Definitely, Andrew, I think you could all agree with me. What he promised, he definitely kept it. We've been all engaged. We've been all quite having such a fun and learned so much new things. At least me, I really enjoyed it. Grab some water, grab some tea. Maybe someone loves coffee in this time of the day. Don't know. And we will be seeing you in, that will be 8:05. 8:05. Yes. So we will be just 5 minutes a bit further from the agenda. And if you have in the meantime any questions, feel free to unmute yourself and ask if you're a guest or you have any questions regarding Toastmasters or workshop or joining Toastmasters. Feel free to ask or drop the message in the chat box.
I have a question. Is the next break gonna be less than 15 minutes? Please let us know exactly how long it's gonna take so we don't frustrate our guests with our planning of 15 minutes duration of the break.
Yeah. No, next breakout is going to be the full length breakout because we're back on target with time now. Okay.
Thanks.
But I know that within my room we've done both of the stories, so.
Oh no, but since I thought it was 15 minutes, I thought about, okay, we spend like some 4 or 5 minutes discussing the first one, so we can do the second with some, you know, learning points already like sedimented, and we didn't have time to do much of the second one. So I was like,
Sorry. But there we are, but we should be back on course, so that's going to be good.
That's called an impromptu breakout session.
Yes.
Absolutely, it was very impromptu. Like, oh, the room is closing in 59, 58, 57. Oh, okay, guys, everyone speak. So something for 10 seconds. Go,
The point of those two little sentences to start stories is just to get people speaking. The feedback aspect will come in the second section, you see, in the second breakout more. But yeah, we're going to be fine. We're running well.
That was really awesome. I managed to have the story with all my attendees in the room. I gave them 2 minutes because we were a bit shorter in the number. But it was such a great story. The only problem was the moment when I saw the message, I was like, are we really leaving the room or what? Like, I didn't even manage to say to them how great the story was.
Can I say something? I don't know who else is listening, who else has left for a break already, about your table topic when you said like, oh, do you have recommendations? And it's not a recommendation to you, but as I was seeing you, it was a recommendation to me. And it's for advanced speakers. I don't know if you felt this, but as I was seeing you, I saw myself in it. When, of course, everybody has their own style, and you shouldn't try to pretend you are serious if you're bubbly, or you are, energetic if you're a serene. But I always imagine myself, oh, I'm gonna go there and speak with gravitas. And then, especially in a contest, and especially with a timer, you have 1 minute. All of a sudden, my energy goes up, and I'm like, okay, guys, and I'm super excited, and I'm here when the energy should be more grounded. And of course, this excitement only happens when you're already advanced, because when you're shy, you start from, a first gear, second gear. And I don't know if you see this video, you recognized that in you, or if I'm wrong, but what Mariana talked about the pauses, but I guess more than the pauses, it was that excitement to speak that would have benefited more from more grounding. And this is something I have to work on every day as well. So I don't know if it was your case.
No, I know exactly what you mean. I know exactly what you mean. And I think, those are contest situations. They're very specific. They're very different. You know that you're going to be moved from that Zoom room onto that stage, and you're going to hear the topic twice, and you must go. And it's your moment. It's your moment to make the impact. So I think that we do psych ourselves up a bit. I have had, even in contests, I've had topics which are, sorry, that's my timing device. I have had topics which have been a bit more reflective, and where I've taken a bit more sort of calmer sense of use of the time, simply because it's dictated by the topic. I think your mood does depend a great deal on the material that you're given to work with. But I think in a contest, everybody is keen to make that initial impact, because obviously you've got the judges out there as well in your audience, and you only get one chance. So I think that's true. But I think it depends on the type of topic you get as to whether it's a more modulated energy, or whether it's a real big high punchy energy type thing.
As long as the punchiness is under your control, not because to me sometimes it's accidental. It's just like, why am I so hyped up, and I'm even coming across as less credible because I could be so energetic right here, right now, grounded, talking to the camera, and I'm like this, pick me, I know the answer, me, and of course that's one of the biggest subtleties that I find for advanced speakers, because that's, for me, I always feel embarrassed after I speak, because I feel that I'm like,
you table topic speak really well, Christina. There's no issue with that at all. I think the more time you spend on stage, the more time you feel you have. So the more time you spend actually practicing in a speaking context, the easier you feel, the more time you have, and the more use you can make of the time. My situation is a bit unusual in that, I'm a theatre professional at heart and a music professional at heart, and so I'm used to using that time in a certain way. according to the subject I'm given, and therefore I may be highly energized, but there's an aspect of me that's still in overall control of the situation, just because of the experience on stage.
I have a
Okay,
question.
gentlemen, I think we need to get back to our meeting.
We need to go to agenda. Mel.
How do you balance using gestures? Because I find that sometimes they can be overplayed. I find that sometimes it can come across a little bit cheesy. So how do you get that balance?
The rule of thumb for gestures is that they must come, as far as I'm concerned, from the meaning of the words. They must reflect something. They're never just, you will see sometimes TV presenters doing gesturing for the sake of gesturing and keeping their hands moving. I'm not really one for that. I think it has to come because I'm underlining the point, so I'm showing you the point, yeah? Gestures feed off words, words feed off gestures. Gestures come from the inside of the words, deep from the meaning. When I'm expressing something to you, I might want to demonstrate it to you with a gesture, to emphasize. It's use of emphasis as well. It will only come across as cheesy if you don't live within your gestures, if you just do gestures for the sake of it. Yeah.
Thank you, Andrew, for the answer.
Thank you, Mel. We're coming back onto the agenda.
In the interest of keeping the meeting on track, please let's get back to the agenda. And we now have about 50 minutes more left of the meeting. So let me welcome back Andrew Bennett to carry on with the meeting. Thank you, Andrew. Please.
Fantastic. So welcome to part 2. Here we go. I have asked Anne-Marie to choose 2 more topics to give to speakers, and I am going to give those speakers, after we've heard both of them, some feedback on their topics this evening. So just to settle us back into the second half of the meeting, we're going to hear from 2 more speakers. Anne-Marie's going to come. I think Irene's coming as well, because Irene is doing the timekeeping for us, I think, there. So Anne-Marie, it's over to you. You don't need me on screen for this bit.
Hi, thank you, Andrew. Hi, everyone. I'm Anna-Marie, and I will be asking a table topics question for this section. Before I do, I have a lovely Irene who's going to help me. So when someone does a table topic, we usually give 3 timings to them. We give a green light at 1 minute, which means they've spoken for enough time, as Irene is showing you now. And then, sorry, I've done this in the slightly wrong order, I think. Yeah, I've done green light, and then we go with an orange light at 1 minute 30, which means that, like, you can start wrapping up now. You're coming close to the end of your time. And then at 2 minutes, we have a red light background, which means stop at all costs. And if you don't, then we'll have a go at you until you do. So yeah, you can, at green, you can stop talking. But you can keep going until the red light if you need to wrap up. So it's 1 minute, 1 minute 30, and 2 minutes is a hard stop. I hope that's clear for everyone. Thank you, Irene. I think I was meant to let you explain that, actually.
No, thank you so much for helping me doing that. So yeah, so Anna-Marie has made it very clear. So I will representing different colors to give you a little signal for your speech, but please prepared to speak till I raise the green background at least, and then if it will be good if you can see the red background.
Yeah, sorry for classic view of impromptu speaking mistake and just hogging the floor, so sorry about that. But hey, a perfect example of failure. We pick ourselves back up. So the first question that I have today is going to be for Chris Arning. Yeah, there you go. And here's a question. In Greek mythology, there was a man called Achilles, and he was a great warrior. He was known for his strength, but he had one key weakness, one key vulnerability, and that was his heel of his foot. Very famously, we now have the phrase, my Achilles heel, which means my greatest weakness. So Chris, what is your greatest weakness? What is your greatest weakness?
Well, thank you, Table Topics Mistress, Master, today for giving me that topic. My greatest weakness. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm a deeply flawed man. Andrew Bennett could tell you some stories about me. We've been in plays together. We've been rogues in the Beggar's Opera. He's been an inspector seeking to divulge secrets from my dark past in An Inspector Calls. But in real life, I also have my flaws. And one of my main flaws, perhaps my main flaw, would be my susceptibility to taking on service positions. Because, you know what, I gave a speech a few months ago called Pay It Forward, and the speech was geared to eliciting people to volunteer to take on roles as club officers. And Pay It Forward was a way of saying that the Toastmasters organisation, the lifeblood of it is generosity and compassion, and that we all benefit from the service of people that have come before us, and we need to pay back. A certain district director, Rupert Dutta, saw that speech. She loved the speech, and she said, Chris, if you're so keen to pay it forward, why not join me on the district leadership team? And I was like, you got me. So that was me voluntold for an entire year. And I am a good 5 weeks into the position. And let me tell you, it's an absolute fire hose of acronyms and protocols. Do you know the difference between a COT and a TLI? I thought so. I thought you didn't. Do you know the difference between an open house and a speechcraft? I didn't think you did. And if I can find it here, do you know what this is? This is a gavel pencil, ladies and gentlemen. And it's one of the symbols of the geekery of being a true Toastmaster. But you know what it's really told me is that Toastmasters need to communicate the power of Toastmasters to the outside world. I see Toastmasters as where communication skills meet spiritual growth. People see things in me and in you can't see in yourself. And just like Homer said, because I'm a big fan of Greek mythology, I've got both the Iliad and the Odyssey, guys. We can all become heroes when we commit to Toastmasters. Madam Table Topics Master.
Thank you, Chris. Well done. Everyone, big round of applause. So appreciate it. It's such a thorough answer, and I can't wait to hear everyone's feedback on that. Do you want to just quickly go to Irene for the time, I believe?
Yes, what a great speech, Chris. So Chris spent 2 minutes and 18 seconds.
So now at this session, I think we're going back to workshop leader, Andrew. Oh, of course, yes. Before we do so, we just want to give everyone the chance to give feedback today, actually. So if you have 1 minute on the clock, and you can message Chris separately, that's Chris Arning, with one thing you thought he did really well and one thing that you think he could improve. So we have 1 minute. Could you put 1 minute on, Irene, for us? So yeah, if you guys can just send him separately one thing you think he did really well and one way he could improve.
Great. Amarin, do you have one more topic for us as well?
Yeah.
You do. That's lovely.
Sorry, I can't find the agenda in the chat anymore. It seems to have gone.
I will share it, don't worry. It's there. It's it.
Great, minutes up. Great, so now we have our second speaker. And before, okay, great. Before we get into that, I can pick someone at random, but I can also, if someone's a brave soul, take a volunteer. So if you would like to volunteer for the next table topic, can you raise your hand and let me know?
Theo wants to do
Theo?
it.
Oh, Theo was first, sorry. Ian. Okay, so we're back to the theme of Greek mythology, if we can have Theo spotlighted in a second. So again, in Greek mythology, there was a woman called Pandora, and she very famously opened a box that let loose into the world death and all kinds of evil and disease. And she instantly regretted it, so she shut the box straight away. Tell me about a time where you did something and you instantly regretted doing it. Tell me about a time
Apart from this
you
moment.
did something and you instantly regretted. Over to you, Theo.
Has this time started? Sorry, can we just clarify? Has the time started?
Sorry, we'll start the minute right now.
Okay, so you know, just like everybody else in life, there's a bunch of things that you regret and you look back on and you try to either rectify or improve. With me, I would say it was my secondary school education. I feel as though I could have been a lot more. I feel as though I could have been a lot more active at school. I could have engaged with people instead of being a bit like introverted. I could have, you know, put myself out there, maybe took part in plays or co-curricular activities and things of that nature. But at the same time, to say I would regret it would mean that, you know, I haven't grown from it. And at this stage in my life, after a thorough reflection, I'm a lot more outgoing. I make sure I grab onto those opportunities wherever they present themselves, such as this. You see, put my hands up. So 1 minute. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm done. I'm done. I haven't got any more.
Round of applause. We love a brave volunteer. Absolutely amazing. It was, yeah. I can't wait to see what everyone has to say. What went well. I know I'll be sending things myself. So if Irene, we can have a minute on the clock for people to think of what Theo did really well, and what you thought he could do better or change next time. Great. So fantastic. Now I'm going to be passing back to Andrew, I believe. Sorry if I got the whole order messed up. So back to you, Andrew, for your feedback.
Thank you very much, Anne-Marie, for those great topics. Thank you very much for Irene for timekeeping for us. That was absolutely great. So first of all, we heard from Chris Arning and his Achilles heel. This was an interesting topic because Chris chose to twist the topic a little bit. We were thinking more about, we're going to hear maybe about his fault, his weakness, his particular weakness. He twisted it to link up with the fact that he always accepts roles in Toastmasters. And that was quite a good way. It was a very amusing way of handling the topic. I think what I would have liked to have heard in this, I enjoyed the twisting of the topic, but I would have liked to have heard how the weakness turned into power more, because I think that that would have brought about even more engagement in the voice and in the physicality on screen. So how did this particular Achilles heel, which is, you know, I've taken on this big leadership role, it's great. How did it turn into a thing that became a power? What's it already teaching me? We're starting to hear about that. I would have liked a bit more connection on that area in this topic, but it was a wonderful topic. be very careful when we use acronyms like COT and TCI and all things that refer to Toastmasters. Obviously, we often have guests in our meeting. Now, Chris did it particularly well because he was joking. He was saying, do you know the difference between a COT and a TCL? I don't. Yeah, he was using it as in a joking sense, and so it passed through. But be very careful with the use of acronyms in topics, because you may have someone in the audience who doesn't know, and then they're hiccuping in their thoughts rather than listening carefully to what you're actually saying. So be careful on that one. But Chris's topic was absolutely great, and he's actually on full form. He may say in the chat that he's out of practice, but he's on full form this evening. Well done, Chris. Theo, how we love a volunteer in Toastmasters. Fantastic. The first thing I have to say to Theo is don't worry that you didn't speak longer than the green card. We use these coloured lights to encourage us to be able to speak for longer, but we all have to make a start somewhere. So to get to the green light is already a considerable achievement this evening. So well done to Theo for having achieved that this evening. He had the question about Pandora and Pandora's box. He really linked up well at the beginning. I thought he talked about education and engagement. I like those two E's, education and engagement. I thought they fitted very well together. Already I felt that I had something of a structure in the topic in that moment. So that was really very good. A nice easy use of speech. And we had the idea of if you regretted something, then it would mean that you hadn't grown from the experience. Now that is the point that I would give as my recommendation this evening. I would like to have heard a bit more development on that. You know, if you've regretted something, you haven't grown from it. So what could we dig out of that? We might find a few more words and ideas in there that take us on to the orange card for next time. But really, really well done. Excellent work coming from Theo this evening, and his first go at table topics, I think. So let's give him an extra round of applause. I love having volunteers in the meeting. It's fantastic. Here we go. We're going into a second breakout. For the facilitators, I promise you, you are going to have the full 20 minutes this time, and it's going to be Arno who's going to be controlling that. And if I dare to try and stop you before the end of 20 minutes, he can give me a good virtual slap. He's allowed. He's known me for a long while. Okay, so we're going to have 20 minutes. You're going to go into your breakout rooms. You have some topics. Everybody is going to get to answer a table topic now. We're going to do some more practice. Use all these ideas that we've been working on. The personal stories. Use the personal stories, the books, the films, things that you've seen. Use your senses, everything to tell your table topic as you go into your breakout room now. Off you go for 20 minutes. Have a fantastic time. Okay, are we there? That's great. So, oh, it's just the three of us this time. Well, you're all busy, I know. So not to worry. Ah, here we come. Shoes back, Melanie's back.
A few more.
Dorothy's back, so that's good. I'm going on gallery view so I can see you all clearly. Lovely. I have some table topics for you. I also have my coloured cards. Okay, green for 1 minute. Orange coming in at 1 minute 30, red for 2 minutes. I'm going to offer each of you a topic. After each topic, we're going to take just a minute to say what we really liked about the speaker's presentation and maybe to give them a word of advice, a comment, a recommendation for the next time so that they can improve it even further. So this is our opportunity to practice what we've been preaching tonight, all about the table topics. And my first table topic speaker this evening then is going to be Melanie, I've decided. Hello, Melanie. Would you please unmute? You're going to be number one.
Sure.
That's great. So your topic is, Melanie, if you were to write a book, what would it be about? If you were to write a book, what would it be about, Melanie?
Mr. Table Topics Master and fellow Toastmasters. Toastmasters, isn't that what we're all an expert on? So we could write a book about Toastmasters, giving speeches, giving table topics, listening, leading, and getting over our fear. So I guess that would be the most obvious topic that I could write a book on. But what have I been doing for the last 30 years? I've been in IT. So I have a career in IT, and I could probably write a book about working in IT and all of the things that I've learned about being a technology person. But would I want to write a book about it? I don't know. I think I'd rather play with technology than write a book about it. So I think I have more fun writing a book about Toastmasters to share all of the experiences and all of the learnings that we've had, especially, I think, on the leadership side, because I don't think anyone's written a book about being an area director. So maybe that's something that would be very useful for some of the people out there. There's probably a lot of videos out there and podcasts, but has anyone written a book? Maybe not. So that's what I think I should write a book about. I'll gather all of the learnings and put it into a giant book, an encyclopedia size. And by the time they've read it, it's the end of the area director year. And then they can do another year. Mr. Table Topics Master.
Excellent work, Melanie. Thank you very much. Just so you know your timing, you came in at 1 minute 47. Excellent. Excellent topic timing. Most of our topics we time towards 2 minutes. If we're in contest, we can go up to 2 minutes 30 seconds. So that was a nicely timed topic. You were on the orange card, and that worked really, really well. Okay, who would have some commendations now for Melanie? Who would have some compliments to give her for what she did? Because it was very good. Just unmute.
I thought, Melanie, very shortly that you started really strongly, so it really captured my attention straight away, and actually it was also quite a funny way to start, and really good way to begin the story to lead us into and capture the attention. So well done.
Yeah, I like Melanie's story, kind of like the whole story seems like take me into roller coaster. First I thought, oh, okay, it's Toastmaster, and later on he turned the corner. No, she work in IT. So all these roller coaster keep me interested in his story, and also the whole process. Her pose is really good and really calm, showcase very confident.
Indeed, I think that's very true. I felt that the topic got easily into flow at the beginning, and that the content was very, very logical as well, which I enjoyed. It made it easy for me to follow and understand. You know, topic's something that happens in a brief time span, really. And so it's important that we can latch on straight away. And that's something I think Melanie did really well. Does anyone have any suggestions for Melanie about things that she might think about for next time?
So I wanted to kind of tag on to like things that she did really well. So there's a good use of humor at the end, and Melanie bought herself time at the beginning. Maybe that could also be maybe a recommendation or suggestion, because maybe that's where the up and down was created. It's served well, because then when she finally got what she wanted to say, it worked out really well and very engaging. But maybe, I don't know, finding a way to move past the time buying at the beginning.
Yeah, the opening of a topic is a very tricky thing. I think, again, you get better at it with time and with practice. I must admit that when I'm listening to the question, I listen very carefully twice, and I hope that there is some key word in the question that I can just grab that keyword and roll with it. That's the way I tend to do it, but everybody has a slightly different approach, and some people do like to take a couple of seconds at the beginning as well to think before they start off with the topic. So well done to Melanie. I think it's time for Shu to have a go at a topic for us, if you're all ready. So let's see which one we should give you. Shu, what is the strongest memory you have from your childhood? What is the strongest memory you have from your childhood?
Ooh, strongest memory. That is very strong words in itself already. Now I need to start with my travel to try to look into my library in my brain to keep looking, digging. What? Aha. Here you go. Strongest memory and the foolish day in my life, in my childhood. Where I was come from, I not a very wealthy family. So when I was a kid, my family need to work very hard to earn the living. So very often, me and my younger brother will left home alone. And then I remember one day when my parents out about to try to get the living for us. And then me and my younger brother were so hungry. We looked up and down, left and right, try to find some food to eat. Oh no, here there is a bottle. Underneath the bottle, there is full of beans. Looks so yummy. So me and my brother, here you go, there you go. We try to grab that bottle. Clunk! The bottle fell on the floor, but still the beans are still there. So we grab the beans to eat. Little that we know, that is for the wine making. At the end, both me and my brother is drunk. When my mom come home to see all this mess, and then she was like heartbroken that cannot like look after us well enough. But for me, that is one of the funniest memory I have, because after that, our family, especially my parents, through their hard work, has done really, really well. So I don't think those memory can ever be recreated again. So my strongest memory in my childhood is when we have not have much, but we have a lot that time. Thank you. Back to you, table topic master.
Thank you, Shu. Well done, well done. So your topic was 2 minutes 7 seconds, which is perfectly fine. That's great, and well done for continuing to the red card. That's excellent work there. I'll start with the commendation. I love the fact that you used personal story. And because it's a personal story and it's about your family, it has a sound of authenticity about it. And I think authentic is really important in a table topic. Something that comes from us, that we're sharing something of ourselves, be it an opinion or a story. I think that's very, very important. So well done for that. Any other commendations for Shu?
To build on exactly what you just mentioned, Andrew, I think Shu was also speaking not only with conviction and this passion that comes from the heart, but you could also see the smile that really enhanced the message. You could almost see yourself witnessing, being the fly on the wall in the room when the event unfolded. So I really thought that this was very good to help us transport ourselves into that moment.
Yeah, I agree with you, Arno. I think that's absolutely true. And, you know, people forget in a tricky situation like an impromptu, sometimes they just forget to smile as well. And a smile can help you out an awful lot, particularly if you've been struggling a bit to find your words, just to stay approachable for your audience and connect with your audience. So smile is important as well. Yeah, I'd go with that. Anybody got any recommendations for Shu?
I think at some points Shu was looking down into the sides, and I thought if she looked more at the camera, it might have connected a little bit better. So I think when she was thinking, then she looked away from us. And I really liked your voice, but I think you also spoke quite fast at some points. So I was trying to just follow along, and that was a bit difficult at some times when you got excited and you wanted to tell us things really quickly.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think it's tricky sometimes to keep excitement in the voice without speed. We associate speed in speaking with excitement. And in fact, I think we just need to learn that it's more about the connection and passing the excitement than the actual rapidity of the delivery. maybe.
No, I see your timing car green, red, green and the red. This is why
Yeah, I know.
get
I know. It
off.
does, and that sets off another thought in one's mind as well. The timing colours. I know. Okay, who's coming up next? I think it'll be Dorota, won't it? Dorota, do tell me, which is the best, pizza or spaghetti? Which is the best, pizza or spaghetti? Your choice, Dorota.
Thank you for, thank you, Toastmaster Topic Master. Thank you for the topic. So which one is the best? This is really tricky and interesting culinary question. So we're going into taste and we're going into opinions, but I'm going to really get into my world of what I really like and what my preferences are. So I haven't tasted pizza until I was probably 15 years old. That's because I grew up in a country that didn't have a lot of cuisine available from other countries. And we were all healthy, growing our vegetables and chickens, but we didn't have actually access to international food that much. So when I first tasted pizza, wow, that was something. I absolutely loved it. I absolutely loved it. Pasta, on the other hand, we did have around. There was more common. But I would say there are things to pasta that I also really like. And when I started traveling around, moved abroad, I was able to experience different tastes of pasta, different shapes of pasta, different names of pasta that I'd never heard before, size, you know, and things like macaroni that for me was just one type in a place where I grew up, all the way to tagliatelle that I never even knew how to pronounce. It was amazing. So I would think at one point in my life, I wasn't sure which one I like more. However, when I look back now, I think this first wow experience that I had with tasting the pizza for the first time with glowy cheese and lovely tomato taste was really the best experience of my teenage years in terms of culinary taste. So I would definitely say pizza and recommend all of you to try it.
Well
Thank
done,
you. Over to you,
Dorota. Well done.
Well topic
done.
master, sorry.
And my apologies, I got so involved with what you were telling us that I almost forgot to show you the green card. I was holding it for very low, so you may not have seen the green. But
No,
that was
I
great.
haven't.
So you did
I
2
was
minutes,
too
5
engrossed in
seconds.
the story, so I didn't look.
2 minutes, 5 seconds. Okay, let's have some commendations for Dorota. What did you like in particular?
So I thought when Dorota got into the story, she was very engaging and she was using her hand gestures and she really like tickled our taste buds. And I suddenly kind of went off thinking about pizza or pasta or spaghetti. So I started feeling a little bit hungry. So I really liked that. Yeah, when she got into it, she was really very engaged about it.
Yeah, absolutely. It was nice towards the end. We were really beginning to smell the cheese and the pasta, you know, that and everything. It was nice that you managed to conjure that world up. If I had a recommendation, Dorota, for that topic, I think I would have liked to see you play. You brought up this subject, which is that the pasta has different shapes, and I'd like to have seen you sort of design those shapes on the screen for us, or do play with that, because I think that could bring about some humor as well in the topic. Just play with the idea of the pasta shapes. But what I did like a lot was that I was getting the sensation, you know, of the smell and the taste and everything that we've been talking about earlier on today. You know, it's that kind of demonstration in the topic that makes it memorable. Demonstration makes things memorable in the same way that using really exciting or expressive language makes things memorable. We're out to leave our audience after our topic with the feeling of having had a real experience, and you're giving them the experience of pizza and pasta, which is just magical. Good, we've got 5 minutes left. So how about would Grace, would you like to do one?
Yeah, sure.
Because Arnold's keeping track of the time for us and the thing. Okay, Grace, I'll give you a topic. It's good. Oh, Grace, do you know something? You have won an award, and that award is for the best haircut of the year. And I would like to hear your award acceptance speech. So you have the best haircut of the year, Grace. Give me your award acceptance speech. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, everyone, because I've won after all the best haircut of the year, I'm going to spend most of the speech just like this, showing off in all angles my new wonderful haircut. And yes, thank you, Andrew. I have indeed won the best haircut of the year. It was hard because it's been so sunny, had to battle with the freeze, with the rain that fell for all of 3 minutes last night, which is very exciting. But also the heat, because even though I'm from a very hot country, this heat is unfamiliar to me in this country, where the buildings are kind of retaining heat, they're insulated and built for heat. So on my speech, I guess I would begin by thanking my parents, as everyone does. So thank you to Mum and Dad for giving birth to me. And then, of course, I will then have to thank my hairdresser for assisting me in creating this wonderful haircut that I have at the moment. And then perhaps I might, I don't know, raise up a bottle of the product that I'm using and give thanks to the company that creates that product for ensuring that I've been able to stave off the frizz and all the other elements of the weather. But all in all, I'd like to give thanks to Toastmasters for giving me the opportunity to give this speech. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you, Grace. Where are we? 1 minute 40. Good timing. Good timing. Great work. Commendations for Grace on her beautiful haircut award speech.
I'll jump in. I really liked the way Grace started by actually not saying a word, but simply moving the hair. And right from the start, you knew almost exactly how the speech was going to go. And I thought that was brilliant, because being able to convey a message without a word is powerful.
Yeah, exactly, Arno. I love that too. In fact, I would have liked it, Grace, if you'd taken just a little bit more time as you turned your head round to give us the different angles. Because the great thing about being in an online meeting is you can use camera angles and maybe take a bit of time, because it was a little bit, I'm tossing my hair around, but the idea was brilliant. It was a brilliant principle, the idea of starting, showing us the hair. Oh yes, that was great. Any other commendations?
I really like the enthusiasm and just the radiance that came through when you were speaking from the beginning to the end. So that's also quite nice to see that it didn't phase off somewhere towards the end. You rounded up really nicely with the same enthusiasm as you started. So well done for that.
Any recommendations? Things that we could advise to do next time, or let's see what advice we can give for next time. I think that one of my recommendations was towards the end of the topic, Grace started to say to us, I would then show a bottle of the product. No, let's show, I'm showing you now the bottle of the product that I actually used to create my award-winning hairstyle. This is it. If you buy it, this is the one. It really shows us. Don't tell us what you would do, but do it and show us, demonstrate, yeah? Because it was such a lovely, radiant table topic. Any other ideas? No? Well, I thought it was great fun, and that's what that question is designed to be as well. It's one of those questions where you can literally let your hair down and have fun. So that's what we did it for. How are we doing on our timing, Arno?
Everybody's about to come back right now.
I thought we were there.
It's perfect timing to the seconds.
Look at that. Excellent work. Well, I hope you all had a fantastic time in your breakout sessions there. And a round of applause to the facilitators who are doing a good job tonight, doing all the work, getting things going for us in the breakout rooms. That's fantastic to have them. Fantastic work, everybody. So I wanted to allow time in this workshop for a question and answer session, so that you put me on the spot. It'll be good for my impromptu speaking. And if you have questions about table topics, how you approach impromptu speaking, I'll do my best to answer. We were asking you to send your questions to Zoom Master Grace. You find Grace, she's in the list, marked Zoom Master, and she's going to convene this for me. So Grace, I'm here. Would you like to spotlight you on the screen as well, and then you can ask the questions as they come? There you are, Grace.
Waiting for a few questions. Haven't seen any come through, so
Okay.
please type your question. But so Andrew, the questions, just to recap, are for tonight's meetings. Any questions that perhaps people didn't get to ask earlier? Is that right?
That's right. It's just things related to our impromptu speaking and our topics this evening. Anything that occurred to you during the workshop.
Okay. Perfect. So Mohammed has asked, he said that he noticed that sometimes it's quite hard to formulate a conclusion. What are your tips, Andrew?
I think that, and it depends on how well you've established the beginning. I think if you want to have a successful conclusion, you've got to have a really good start. You've got to find where you're going in the topic first. It's easy if you have a good start and you've got maybe your 1 or 2 points that you're going to make in that timing of 2 minutes. It's easy to come back at the end and reinforce the points. So I would the way I would do it is I would state the quote or the question again, maybe, and reinforce my points. So, you know, as Topics Master said to us, you know, life is so much easier if you're a rich man. Life is so much easier if you're a rich man. It's true. I've proved that to you in my words this evening. Take it some way, take it back to the opening statement, and maybe just reinforce the 2 points or whatever points you've made. That's how I would do it, I think.
Perfect. And then we've got another question from Jill. So she's asked, do you have a list of quotes you use in table topics?
When I'm Topics Master, I look up different quotes. I look at the theme of the meeting and I try to match the theme of the meeting. Doesn't always work, but I do look up quotes online sometimes. I do have something which I think you should all be doing and thinking about. Now I'm going to show you, this is my thing. I write ideas down. I keep a journal, I write ideas down. In there, I might write quotes, things that have really struck me that I've heard. And I think that might be useful sometimes either for a prepared speech or impromptu speech. You'd be interested to know that I write comments before and after my contests, about how I feel before the contest and what I feel happened during the contest. Basically, I gather everything up. Stories, things that I hear, things that people say to me. Maybe somebody says something to me, I find it really funny, and I note it down because it may be useful sometime in a speech. So I suggest that you start journaling. This one actually is the speaker's journal. It was published by one of our Toastmasters. But you know, you can get hold of any notebook you like, and just start writing the ideas down, so that you've got, you know, quotes that might be useful, or maybe you're going to go and you've seen a film that's interesting. Note some things down about it. Anything particularly struck you, book you've read, piece of music you like. Just make notes. Make notes, because if you write it down somehow, when you're put on the spot in that moment, it comes back to you in some form. I promise you.
Thank you.
Brilliant golden nuggets there. It's absolutely spot on. And so another question we have from Shirley is, how do you wrap it up quickly if the light is red?
Oh yeah, panic time. I always refer to that as panic time. The more you practice your table topics, the more you'll get comfortable with the lighting system and the lighting changes. You develop a facility gradually that you know that the lights are moving on, and so you start to advance more in your topic. However, if you do get stuck on that red light, you know that you've only got 30 seconds to wind up and then you're kind of out of time. So I think in that situation, you just go straight back to the opening statement. Whatever the statement was, whatever the topic you were given was, go straight back to it, round it off. And if you can round it off in such a way that you've opened it up to the whole room. So that is why I am telling you, Toastmasters, that spaghetti is much, much better than pizza. Table Topics Master. Yeah, try and round it up that way. So I think the feeling of conclusion is very important to us as human beings. And so I think you have to find a way of getting to some sort of conclusion. Okay, if you've really gone wild in your topic and you've struggled a bit and you've used all your time, just to bring it back with one sentence at the end. Close the circle. Close the circle. Bring it back to the beginning.
Love that. Close the circle. That's one to take away again, making a mental note. So we have another question from Jean-Pierre, and that is, how do you avoid the and ahs?
Right, the old favourites, the ums and ahs. I'm going to say something now that's a little controversial. I think, now, there you go. I think that it's a little bit inevitable in certain table topics contexts that we might have one or two ums and ahs, because they are part of the flow of impromptu speech. And for instance, in some languages, we have the schwa sound, which is the sound which comes between words. So it depends also on your first language too. That can influence how many ums and ahs you have in a table topic. To avoid it, I think the key to really avoiding that is just to get into flow. To get into flow. And also, if you feel that you're falling into the trap of having ums and ahs, take a second in the middle of your topic, breathe, pause, take a second. From there, take the topic forward again, and you'll find that you haven't used so many ums and ahs that way. It's a practice thing again, as much as anything else.
Breathe.
Breathe.
Yeah. Perfect. So questions are coming in. So we have another question from Roseanne, and that is how to control your pace of speech.
Now, some topics help you with this, because particularly if the topic is a more serious, settled, slow type of topic, then it's going to slow your pace down. In that case, you're going to want to find a moment in the topic where it gets a bit more exciting. Pacing can be tricky for many speakers. I think that we either tend to go wildly fast or we go much too slow because of our nerves, and we're trying to grasp onto every word. And finding the middle pacing can be tricky for us sometimes. But I think the pacing is always dictated by the meaning of what you're saying. We did this when we did the voice work together with the voice workshop with this club. We're talking about how important it is to get inside the meaning of your words, to reflect the meaning of your words with your voice and with your personality and your persona and your physicality. I think the key really to pacing is in your expression. It's in the meaning of the words as they come to you. Certain words may make you feel you want to slow down a little bit, in your pacing, and then you've got to pick up a bit afterwards because we're in a situation where we're a little time governed. But nonetheless, I think if you go always for the meaning and the meaning of your words, then you will find that you generally pace things in a way that's adequate for the topic, whether you need to be lively or more reflective.
So going for the meaning.
Go for the meaning. Go for the meaning, because the meaning brings connection with your audience. When I share something with you, I want you to connect with me because you feel it too. You can feel what's happening in that moment. And that helps me to pace the topic for you. There you are. I'm kind of demonstrating for you there.
I love it. So let's see. Go back to the order. So another question that has come in is, what has been the most memorable table topic you have heard?
Oh, wow. There was once I was attending a contest. It wasn't in our district. It wasn't in our district. Caveat, it was not in our district. It was somewhere else. And the topic master gave the topic, and the word, it was one word. It was chaos. Chaos. That was the topic. And the speakers all came on stage and they spoke about chaos. You can do it that way. You can do it with one word. People talk to me also about the background that we give in topics sometimes. You know, some topics masters will give you more of a context than others before they ask the question. I think that really does depend person to person, Toastmaster to Toastmaster. I have noticed that if you are thinking about doing contest speaking for table topics, that you will find that normally in contests there is less context given, simply because there's a time element, I think, for the topics masters as well. So they tend to go straight for the quote or the question for us. But yeah, that's
I
what I would say on that one.
Yeah, to follow on from that one, actually, someone has asked, what do you do when the mind goes blank? Because I think you mentioned someone getting the topic chaos instantly. You either go blank or your brain turns to chaos. What do you do?
It happens. Look, if we're in a meeting amongst ourselves and we're in a Toastmasters meeting and you do have a blank, there's no reason why you shouldn't ask to hear the question again if you need to. Topics Master is there, after all, to help the topic speakers. They're not there to hinder them. You know, otherwise you can set off and hope that you hit the subject on the way, but I think that's a less good way. I think I would, if I got a real blank, providing I was not in contest, because contest is a tricky one. You only get to hear the question twice. But if I was in a meeting and I was hearing the topic and I'd missed it for some reason, it happens, you know, if I'd missed it for some reason or I'd heard it and I kind of blanked, I would ask for the question again, I think. I think that's perfectly legitimate, because at the end of the day, this is about practicing impromptu speaking. You know, it's a practice situation. Yeah. When we get to the contest levels, that's a bit more polished and other things are required. But in the general session, I think we're practicing. So I would ask for the question again. And if anyone tells you you can't, say that I told you you could.
You heard it here, everyone. You can quote Andrew when you need permission for that question. Perfect. So before I ask the next question, I'm going to ask one that I had. So you mentioned earlier about writing down quotes. Do you also write down stories and like group them into how they could work?
Yeah, I'm not orderly enough to group them into categories. I'm fairly orderly, but I'm not orderly enough to group them into categories. But I do write down stories. And every so often I'll pick up this speaker's journal. Actually, speaker's journal's got other things in it. It's got all sorts of information and pictures and things that are fun things to read as well. And I will pick that up and I will look through things. And I say, oh, I remember noting that down, or I remember that particular speaking experience when I was giving a workshop, or and I will bring these things up every so often. You know, they will come up in my speaking. But I'm not, I think if you are such an orderly person that you can regroup them all and compartmentalize like that, then I really envy you. I admire you. I admire you. I can't quite do that.
No, I'm asking for a friend. That's not me either. So...
Well, friend, I admire you. If you could do it.
Yeah. So another question that we have that's come through is, so they said, you talked about layering in your evaluation for Mo. Is this a specific technique to answering, or just how you would describe his answer?
Now, that was the way I described Mo's answer this evening. It was layering. By layering, what I mean in that context is that he was passing from point to point. In between those points, you had the transitions. There you are. There's my thumb. My thumb's the transition for you. That's the transition, is the sentence that links one point to the next point, and it does so logically so that we've got continuation and we don't feel that the topic is bumpy, unless it needs to be bumpy, unless you've got a bumpy topic where you're doing something physical. But you know, in general, we like this nice flow from point to point. Yeah. So that's what I mean by the layering of the topic. And the other thing that Mo did, of course, which was great, was he did a really good conclusion for us, a good summary at the end. He didn't forget. Sometimes people get so wrapped up they forget summary, and summary is important. Conclusion, summary is important, because as I said to you, everybody likes to have this feeling of completion.
So the conclusion is very important, so in creating the flow.
Do we have one more, Grace? And then I think we're going to hand back now, because otherwise we'll be going
Okay.
over time.
That makes sense. So there's a few. So I will. Well, there's two. So I think that one's been covered. So I guess the last one that we'll pick is someone's asked if you have any tips for non-native English speakers.
Wow. Now this is a big subject, and I coach a lot of non-native English speakers. I'm always I love people who approach table topics in a language which isn't their first language. First of all, don't be frightened to try. Don't be frightened to put yourself out there and try and approach the topic. Okay, maybe your first few attempts might not be the easiest of situations, but just to break the ice for yourself and go in there and make a start like we did tonight is a really good thing. Don't be put off by the fact it's your second language. I've also done topics in other languages, in other club contexts, and I would just say, keep going, keep ploughing on with it, you know. And I think within Toastmasters, there is a general sense of admiration when someone steps up and does a topic and it's not their first language, and to hear them do it. So I would say, go on, break the ice, go for it. Okay.
Thank you, Andrew.
Grace, thank you for animating the question and answer section for me. Thank you for everybody's questions. Before I hand back, I want to say thank you to you all as participants. I hope that the information I've shared with you this evening, the practical elements that we've shared together, will be something that lasts for you and that you'll be able to apply in your impromptu speaking situations. It's been fantastic. Thank you to Arnaud and to Grace for the Zoom, Mariana, who's presided so wonderfully for us, and all the team over at the London Cardinals. It's been great to share table topics from Fear to Flow with you all this evening. We've worked really hard. Remember, we've worked on our opening of our topics. We've worked on getting a good conclusion. We've worked on getting a sense of flow in the middle, and lots on the senses, taste, sight. Don't forget that. Just bring it all together. Have fun. Topic speaking, impromptu speaking. I promise you, Ralph Smedley wanted it to be fun. I'm handing back to Mariana now to close the meeting for us.